Wow. How pathetic. Yeah. Welcome back to Vikez Vibes. This is your place for Minnesota Vikings content. Yeah. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Um, hit the bell for notifications. Yeah, this season is going to be fun. Um, you know, I might have some things, some surprises. So stay tuned. Um, so by now we all know about all the shit that Mike Zimmer has said recently about his time here with the Vikings. I think I think it's just all so pathetic. It's ridiculous, and he's just I don't know how else to word it, but butthurt that he got himself fired. I emphasize himself because he just blames everyone else and doesn't take any blame for anything. So, in his recent interview with Star Tribune football writer Mark Craig, he proved what we all thought to be right, which is that this team was so dysfunctional when he was here. At least the last year he was here. That was, obviously that was the worst. Um when he did first get here, he did start off fairly well. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like in in third for most wins as a head coach for the Vikings or something like that. I think, don't quote me on that, but I think he's in third. Um but his last couple of years, especially his last, like I said, were just basically a joke. He had beef with a lot of the front office, including general manager Rick Spielman at the time. Uh, they went a very long time not talking to each other at all, and I believe that started in the 2021 NFL draft when Rick apparently attempted to move up in the draft to select quarterback Justin Fields. Oh yeah, and of course, Mike Zimmer had to say shit about him too, which he said he hasn't done anything since being drafted. Which, in my opinion, he, I feel like Fields is just on the wrong team. If he would have ended up here, I think his career would look a lot different right now, to be honest. Um, but the Bears, they moved up, I think from 20 to 12, I believe, to get Fields. So and obviously I don't know if we tried, like actually, like if Rick actually called and offered something and they denied it. I don't know, but and then when Rick Spielman picked quarterback Kellen Mond in the third round, Mike Zimmer walked out of the room, left the building, and didn't even talk to him on the phone, which continued as they barely even talked the last season, or they barely ever talked that last season and haven't talked since. Um, you know, and that explains, back that Green Bay game. Um, when he had those comments about Mon, I mean, he didn't really have any faith in Mon, and that right there, that completely explains why. Which I mean is bullshit because it has nothing to do with Mond. It's all because Rick went and picked him. There's nothing. wrong with the guy. Like, you're salty because the GM picked him. There's nothing against him personally. Why are you treating him like crap? Like, then the next day, Spielman asked if Zim was mad at him, and he said, "Yeah, you took like 4 backups when I had 4 guys I thought to be starters." And he said from that time on, their relationship just got worse and worse. And going back to that Green Bay game, which we lost, which is the game that Kirk Cousins missed because he had COVID. He put Mond in for a very short stint, and then just was not having any of them in the press conference. As he said, he doesn't need to see more of them; that he sees them every day in practice. A lot of people took that and ran with it, and you know, at the time, you didn't really want to make a big deal out of it because you didn't want all this to be true because he was our head coach. Like, you didn't you didn't want all this negativity to actually be true. But, deep down inside, you kind of knew that it wasn't pretty. Um, the next day Zimmer said, "What about me? What's my status at the end of the season?" And Mark Wilf, which is one of the owners of the Vikings, said, "We're evaluating." Um, his final game as Vikings head coach, he was man, it felt like he was trying to win the Super Bowl, but he was kind of petty about it. Like, he totally ignored the chance to help Justin Jefferson set a franchise record for most receiving yards in a season. It just that game was so weird. Like, he knew he was out the door, and he just like I don't know. That game just felt very weird and awkward to me. Um, After that, it was crystal clear that the team needed to fire his ass and move on. But I mean, that didn't stop him from storming out of the facility, after being fired. Zimmer said that they asked me if I wanted to address the team, and I said, "Hell no, they got me fired. I don't know. I didn't know I was supposed to go to HR and sign out or whatever. No one told me. I just got all of my stuff, got in my truck, and left." He said in his interview that he has not watched one single Minnesota game since he got fired. Well, you know what, Sim? Good for you. Like, no one cares. Like, you're still butthurt, and it's been 3 years. Get over it, dude. Stop acting like a high schooler. And, another thing, for him to say the team got him fired is complete bullshit. He did it to himself. Like I said, he just wants to blame everyone else and, is just butthurt about everything not going his way. He had to have seen it coming. I mean, it it was clear. There's no way a team can run an environment like that, especially one where the GM and the head coach don't even talk to each other because the head coach is just a little whiny baby. Like, maybe there was more to why Stefan Diggs pushed himself out of Minnesota. He did just post the other day that there was stuff in Minnesota that he never shared, and he never will because he's a professional. That's what he said. So, you know, there's got to be a lot more that we don't even know about. There should be a lot worse stuff that, it never has been shared. And I honestly believe that there is. Like, and to be honest, I mean, I don't like Stephon Diggs just because of the way he whined himself out of here. Whatever. I mean, he was whiny even when he went to the Bills and whatever. But I believe him on this. I believe that there was more crap going on when Mike Zimmer was there. And, you know, to be totally honest, I don't blame Stephon Diggs. If, you know, I mean, it could have been a combination of things, but I feel like the biggest thing would be how Mike Zimmer was, how that environment was, how the culture was. It just wasn't good. I don't blame Diggs for trying to get out of here. You know, I just I don't I don't know how those couple players that he had here that are now Cowboys with Mike Zimmer as their defensive coordinator. I don't know how they're even able to accept the fact that he'll be one of their coaches again. I just I wouldn't put up with that bullshit anymore. If I was already on the team and be like, "Oh, hey, we're thinking about hiring Mike Zimmer as our defensive coordinator," I'd be like, "If you do that, trade me. Or I won't play. I won't show up, blah blah blah." Man, I wouldn't put up with that. That's man. And then after his firing, uh, cornerback Chris Boyd had some criticism towards how the environment was not very good in the final season with him as head coach. And Zimmer comes back and says, Chris Boyd, he says something about me. I'm like, dude, you had more special teams penalties than anyone I can remember. Uh, then Chris Boyd took to his Instagram and said, "Damn, Zim, out of everyone, out of everybody on the team, I loved you, still do, and it won't change. You believed in me, and I'm nothing but grateful for it." So, I mean, he's just no matter who it is, he's just man, he's just going after him. Um, I'm so I'm so glad he's out of here, not our head coach anymore. Um, there is a part of me that does feel bad for him, and that is all he's been through outside of football. Losing his wife at 50 years old, and then losing his son at 38 years old. I mean, I feel for the guy about that. Like, I can't imagine, losing your wife, losing a kid, you know. I mean, you'd have to not have a heart to not feel for a guy about that stuff. Like, no matter what he did here, I mean, unless he, killed someone, whatever. But you know what I'm saying. He's an ass, but I feel for the guy because he lost his wife and his kid. Um, yeah. But when it comes, to the football side of it, no, there's no feeling sorry for him one bit. He did it to himself, and he's just an old, grumpy, old school guy that thinks everything should go his way. He got himself fired. Football is a team game. That goes for everyone, not just the players, coaches, GM, equipment guys, everyone. It's a team. It's not just head coach. Boom, everything's got to go my way. I mean, in some aspects, yes, but not everything. There's still people above you. So, Zim, just calm down and get over it. And I honestly hope you don't have good luck in Dallas. Just to be totally honest. So, what are your feelings about all this? Let me know. And like I said in the beginning, don't forget to stay tuned to Vikez Vibez as the season is starting. We will have game previews and post-game recaps of all the Vikings games all season long. And we might have some other things up our sleeves. So you got to stay tuned. So make sure you go subscribe on the YouTube channel at Vikez Vibez. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. See ya.